bring the jury in back to the jury room, and we'll tell them we'll bring them out when we're ready to start.
Okay. Jury.
Everyone may be seated. Yeah, I don't know that I will, but it'd be easier to have it. While they're finalizing the exhibits, can we get a schedule of who is to testify and in what order today?
Yes, ma'am. Marion Fitzgerald is in the hallway right now. We testifying first. Daniel Meadow is en route from Hoffman and will be testifying second. Kirk Madison is scheduled to arrive at 1:30, and Justin Riley is scheduled to arrive at 3 o'clock. Scott Searles was picked up over the weekend and is in custody, so he'll testify if we have a gap in the middle. And when we have a gap,
All right, so we don't have more than one witness now, so when Ms. Fitzgerald comes in, we'll just have her sworn and instruct her on the rule of that. No,
she was sworn on Friday.
Friday, that's right. Both she and Mr. Madison.
I haven't inquired whether or not Scott Searles was transported.
Yes, it's downstairs.
Okay. Thank you.
you ready?
And Judge.
Vince, ready? For Mr. Wayne Greenlaw?
Wayne, we're ready.
And Vince, ready for Mr. Ray Greenlaw?
Excuse me, Your Honor?
Are you ready for me to bring the jury out?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, let's do so.
Jury. Jury may be seated.
Everyone else may be seated. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope your weekend was good and your team won last night. Deputy Mercer, were you apprised of any issues that the court needs to address with any member of the jury before we start?
No, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Well, are you ready with your next witness?
We are, Judge.
And that would be?
State calls Mary Ann Fitzgerald.
For the record, Your Honor, that's agenda number 23.
That's correct.
Thank you. And as the jury may recall, Ms. Fitzgerald has previously been sworn. She was sworn in on Friday and instructed on the rule of sequestration, so she will be able to approach the witness stand directly.
Witness is seated.
And you may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Could you tell us your name, please?
Mary Ann Fitzgerald,
And where do you live, Miss Fitzgerald?
temporarily 13 Azalea Drive.
Okay. Was there a time that you lived at 13 Azalea Drive?
Yes,
And did you live there with your mother back on October 29th, 2011?
yes.
How long had you lived in that residence?
A little over 2 years.
And how long have you lived in that neighborhood overall?
2 years.
Do you have other relatives that live in the neighborhood?
Yes,
Your sister?
yes,
And that would be Barbara Meadow.
correct,
And your nephew, Daniel Meadow.
correct,
And at some point, your son lived there as well, right?
correct,
David Royal.
yes,
And all of those people were living in that neighborhood back on October 29th of 2011.
yes,
But not at that particular house, at different residences along the street.
yes.
Now, I'd like to have you take a look at that map behind you. You see that map right there?
Yes,
Okay. I'm going to show you a smaller exhibit of the same map, State's Exhibit U. Do you recognize 13 Azalea Drive in that map?
don't have my glasses on, let me hold it up a little bit
Here, I'll tell
closer.
you what, does this help you at all?
Um,
If this is azalea, and this is aspen, and Roosevelt is out here.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. Can you see this laser pointer?
Yeah.
Did you push the button and put it on your house where you were living at the time, 13? Here's the little button that says this man.
Let me go. I believe that one.
Here's on.
On
Sure
the,
is.
okay, Roosevelt, Amelia. Oh, I'm sorry. Believe that one.
Okay, so the one there on the inside of the curve?
Well, when you come off of Roosevelt, you go down with Zelio, it's right on the corner. It would be that house, right where I live.
This house here?
Correct.
Okay. On this map in front of
And
me,
I say,
that's the same house?
correct.
Can you put your initials on that house?
I'm swollen finger for you.
That's all
I
right.
took a big ball.
Okay. Thank you very much, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Judge State removed U into evidence as states next.
Any objection by counsel for Wayne Greenlaw?
No, ma'am.
Any objection by counsel for Ray Greenlaw?
No, Your Honor.
It will be admitted as State's Exhibit 4.
Thank you very much. And so, Ms. Fitzgerald, you lived in that house right there on October 29th, 2011. Is that correct?
Correct.
And were you up during the early morning hours of that particular day?
Yes.
Okay, tell us why it is that you were up so early.
I got up early to go in the garage to smoke a cigarette
Okay.
because I was not allowed to smoke in the house.
Because of your mother's health condition.
Right, and I'm an early riser.
Can you describe to us the garage, please?
Yes, it's a two-car garage, double doors, and we have a wall on one side you can look out with holes in it, called a curtain wall.
Okay. Is it a block wall?
It's blocked with like holes in it.
So kind of like lattice almost?
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
You can see through the holes and see out?
Correct.
Okay. It's not a solid block wall that you can't see through?
No.
There are holes in it that you can look out and see what's happening on the
Correct.
street next to the house.
Correct.
And did something get your attention that particular morning while you were up smoking?
Yes.
What got your attention first?
Loud yelling.
Okay.
Very, very loud.
And how long did that yelling go on for?
Not long, couple of minutes.
Is that odd at that time of the morning? In that
Yes.
You're up often, aren't you?
Yes.
And this particular morning stands out in your memory.
It scared me so bad I jumped.
Okay.
Very unusual.
Now, after the yelling, what happened next?
I went into the house to grab the phone in case I had to call 911.
And did you eventually end up calling 911?
No.
What was the next event that you perceived after retrieving the phone?
I went back to the garage.
And what did you perceive?
I saw two men, they looked like two men, walking on Aspen Street, passing by Brian Leverett's house.
Okay. Now, those two men, we've previously talked, and you said that those two men were not Brian Leverett and were not Justin Riley.
No.
Okay. And you know both of those individuals.
Yes.
Know them well.
Yes.
Do you also know the defendants in this case?
No.
Were they the defendants? Do you have any idea?
No, to me, it just looked like there were two men walking past Brian's house, coming that way. And it just looked to me like it was somebody,
Okay, so
like
that
two men.
was the next thing you noticed, but it had nothing to do with why we're
Right, correct.
After the two men go by and clear out of your sight, what happens next to get your attention?
I was still in the garage, and everything had quieted down. And then I heard gunfire, lots and lots of gunfire that I've never heard before at that time of day. In the morning, 5:30 a.m., I went back into the house.
Okay.
I was afraid.
Okay. At some point in that morning, did you see Brian Leverett?
Yes, I did.
At what point did you see Brian Leverett?
I saw Brian Leverett pull up after the two men walking, went around the corner to where I could not see them no more.
Okay.
Brian Leverett pulled up.
So you see, or you hear yelling, you get your phone, you see two men,
Correct?
and then Brian Leverett pulls up.
Yes.
Is Brian Leverett's house directly across the street from your garage? Right on
Yeah.
the corner?
From the garage where I was sitting, it's on the corner, a little bit to the right.
Okay, and look at the map there where I'm pointing the red dot. Is that Brian Leverett's house?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have a clear and unobstructed view that morning?
Yes, I did. He had his front porch light on.
And you saw him, what you think, pull up in the vehicle?
He pulled up, he had a white pickup truck. No, I don't know now if it was white. I'm sorry, I apologize. It was a truck.
Okay. He actually owned a black pickup truck.
A black, excuse me, you are correct. He pulled up in a black truck.
Okay. Does that seem familiar that he drove that black truck that morning?
No, now he used to work at times all night and come home early in the morning, but he only did that a while and then started working a different shift
Okay.
to where he wouldn't come home that early.
Okay.
So that morning was unusual for him to pull up at 5:30.
My question was a different one. Had you seen him in that black pickup truck before?
Yes, I have.
Okay, thank you. After you see the black pickup truck pull up, what happens?
Brian Lever, the house has a fence surrounding his home. He pulled up outside of that fence. He walked out, he was alone, went inside his yard, yelling, "Justin, I hate you, you're my friend."
He yelled, "Justin, I hate you. You're my friend."
Correct, and I thought, that didn't make no sense.
Right.
Then he proceeded to go in his house, came back out with a flashlight and an object in his hand that was very long.
So he comes out with a long object and a flashlight.
Correct.
How long was he inside the house?
Less than 5 minutes.
Did you get a good look at the long object?
I could not tell what it was, I just know it was long. As he was coming out the door, because he had the light on, I could only see that it was long.
What happened after he exited the home?
He started walking, he walked out of his yard, passed by my mom's neighbor's house across the street.
Did he walk in a southern direction, kind of back towards Aspen?
He walked towards the house across the street from his.
Okay, would that be this house right there?
It is a 2-story house.
Is that the house that we're indicating? Right there with the red dot?
Correct.
Okay.
He walked towards that house and proceeded to keep going to Aspen Street, the other side of Aspen.
Okay, and
Street.
the house that we just pointed at there is 17 Aspen, is that correct? Do you know?
I don't know.
Do you know if there was a party there that night?
Not that I know of, the house was really quiet. So if there was a party, I have no idea.
Okay. But you had seen other people in the neighborhood already that you didn't know, right? Walking around and milling about at that hour?
I saw 2 men come out of the 2-story house after the yelling. I guess they were awakened or they were awake and they heard the noise and came outside.
Out of the 2-story house there?
Correct.
Okay. Now, you say that Brian Leverett passes the 2-story house there at 17 Aspen and proceeds to move to your sister's house.
Correct.
What's your sister's address?
13 Aspen Street.
And that's where the shooting actually occurred on that particular morning.
Correct.
Did you hear did you hear Brian say anything else that morning?
Yes, as he walked by the 2-story house, 2 men had come out on the driveway and he yelled out to him, "Call 911, could be bleeding to death.
He yelled out, call 911, could be bleeding to death?
Correct, and that's all he said.
Okay. And then after that is when you heard all of those shots that you previously described?
I heard the shots after Brian had turned the corner going to 13 Aspen. That's when I went into my house. I was scared.
Thank you, Ms. Fitzgerald. I don't have anything else.
Thank you.
Examination by counsel for Wayne Greenlaw.
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Nice to see you again.
Thank you.
All right. Let's start when you got up that morning. About what time was it?
Approximately 5:30 a.m.
And were you experiencing some electrical problems at your home?
Yes, sir.
And what sort of electrical problems were you experiencing?
My mother has a lamp post outside in her yard, and when we were turning it on the day before, it kept turning off. It would not stay on, so we just left it off. We didn't play with it. We didn't know what was wrong with it.
All right, so the lamp that would normally be lit at nighttime outside the house was not on.
Correct.
Were there any other problems with the electricity?
No, sir.
All right. Now, I believe you said that you got up around 5:30,
Correct.
and how do you know that?
There is a clock. I'm always checking on my mother, and as I went out to the garage, we have a clock hanging right by the door. I looked at that clock. I'm always looking at the clock. That's how I know.
And I believe you previously told us that you knew it was 5:30.
Correct.
Looked at the clock. So you got out to the garage around 5:30, and the reason that you go to the garage is because you're taking care of your mother and you can't smoke inside.
Correct.
When you get out to your garage, do you stand to smoke or do you have a seat?
I sit down.
Okay. And when you sit down in your garage, are you able to look out of your garage and see Brian Leverett's home straight across the street from you?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness? I'm going to show you what has previously, and I know you said you didn't have glasses.
That's okay. I apologize.
That's okay. Defense Exhibit L. Do you recognize that?
That is my mother's house.
Okay. And you described, Your Honor, may I question her about this?
May.
You previously described what you call a curtain wall.
Yes.
And does that picture depict that curtain wall?
Excuse me.
Does that picture show the current wall?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is that a fair and accurate representation of the house and the curtain wall?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what is Defense Exhibit N, Defense Exhibit N. Is that just a up-close
Yeah.
version of that?
Yes.
Does that show the little holes through the wall that you can look out
Yes.
and see?
Yes.
The light that you were referring to that is off, where would that be?
I know.
All right, right there. It's right there in that picture, right? And that light was off on that particular night.
Correct.
All right, now, I'm going to show you what is Defendant's Exhibit N. If you're looking out of that curtain wall, what street is this you're looking at?
Aspen Street.
All right, and it's kind of a strange thing going up there, right?
Correct.
This street is Aspen, but this turns into Aspen, right?
Correct.
And this is Azalea, right?
Correct.
That turns into Aspen.
Correct.
All right, and since the driveway on the home that you were in that night faces out to Azalea, that's why you have an Azalea address.
Correct.
And the address is 14 Azalea.
That's 13 azaleas.
That's 13?
My mother's house.
Oh, okay, I got you. See, that's right, because this, on Azalea Street, this would be the odd side, and over here, this would be the
Correct,
even side. So
correct.
this is 13 Azalea, as
Correct.
opposed to 13 Aspen.
Correct.
Okay, very good. All right, so the pictures that I'm showing you there up close, the little curtain wall is right here, right? This is where your garage is, the little curtain wall, so you can view right down the street, right at Brian Edwards'
Correct.
house.
Correct.
All right, very good. Do you have a window on the back side of your home that allows you to go to the window and look out to see your sister's house at 13 Aspen?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what had previously been marked as defendant's U. Ask if you recognize that.
Yes, that is the window.
All right, and if you're standing at that window, what houses can you see?
Barbara Meadow.
All right, so the window to your house would be right in here,
Right.
and right straight across would be your sister's house, Barbara Meadow.
Barbara Meadow.
13 Aspen,
And to the right of the neighbor, I can see her house also.
and it's Mary Cassell's
Mary.
house.
And I believe I can see a little bit of the other one to the left.
All right, just a little bit,
You're correct.
because you've got a fence that comes out here. there's
Right, and that kind of blocks it in.
All right, so you can see, when you look out the back, when you see this house, a little bit of it, this house and this house.
Correct.
All right, very good. And is this just an up close, this is defendant's VD, is this just an up close view?
Correct.
Of that same window?
Yes.
Your Honor, I would ask that these be moved into evidence.
I need to ask a question. I heard two N's. I heard L for the first one,
Well,
N for the second one,
it looks like
okay, and then the third one is N.
in,
Okay, then I got it straight. This is a joint exhibit, so no objections, correct, counsel, for
Correct.
Ray Greenlaw? Any objections by the state?
Okay.
All right, defendant's exhibit L for identification will be admitted as defense exhibit number 12. N will be defense exhibit number 13. N will be exhibit 14. UU will be exhibit 15, and DD exhibit 16.
I'm sorry, UU is, N is 14, UU is 15, and BB is 16? Or L?
I've got L is 12,
Right.
M is 13, N is 14, UU is 15, and DD is 16.
Thank you.
Your Honor, may I approach this?
You may.
All right, so you're now sitting in your garage, you're looking out of the curtain wall windows that I just showed you the photographs of. When you're looking out those windows, how good is your visibility? What can you see?
I can see Ron Levert's house, the two-story house, and partway down Aspen Street.
All right. Now, there aren't very many lights out there in your neighborhood, are there?
No, sir.
And the little lamp post that you were talking about that normally would light that area is right out there, right out by that curtain wall, isn't it?
Correct,
Normally would illuminate it a little bit,
correct.
but on this particular night, you were able to see out into the street.
Correct, because Ryan Leverett have his light porch on, and the neighbors across the street in the two-story house also have their light on.
All right, so you're sitting out in the garage and you're able to see outside. And how long do you think you were sitting out in the garage before something got your attention?
5 minutes,
All right, so if you got up at 5:30, around 5:35, you heard a lot of yelling. Is
correct.
that right?
A lot of yelling, loud, 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 made me jump, scared me.
All right. And it was coming from up Aspen Street, right?
Correct, it sounded like it was back in the woods behind Barbara Meadows' house. That's what I thought, somewhere that direction.
And how long do you think that yelling and loud noise lasted?
Just a couple minutes, enough to make me jump, and then it was quiet.
All right, very good. So you hear the loud yelling around 5:35. It lasts a couple of minutes, which would put it to sometime around 5:37, somewhere around.
Correct,
Okay. And at that point in time, didn't hear anything else from you.
correct.
Now, at that time, right there, before it got quiet, I know you heard yelling, and I know you heard noises. Did you hear any gunshots?
No, sir.
All right. So, you heard the yelling, you heard arguing. Well, strike that. Did you hear arguing?
Yelling,
Okay.
I cannot understand one word just from yelling.
Did it seem to you that there were more than one voice yelling?
Yes,
Did it seem to be a number of voices?
I'd say 2. It was hard to tell, like I said, maybe jump, I started to shake, but I know at least 2, maybe more, that,
All right, so now did you get up and go inside when you heard it? Or did you get up and go inside when the noise stopped?
when the noise stopped, well, when I heard the noise, I jumped. Then I got quiet, and I walked into the house right away to grab the phone,
All right, and you grabbed the phone for what purpose?
in case I needed to call 911.
All right, very good. So, noise, yelling occurs 5:35, couple of minutes past 5:37, noise stops, you get up out of the garage, you go into your house.
Correct.
Then you go into your house to get the phone. Where do you go in your house to get the phone?
Correct. Okay, when you walk in from the garage,
Yes, ma'am.
you go through the kitchen, you turn to the right to go in the living room, and the phone is right there.
All right, so literally, that just takes you a few seconds.
A few seconds to grab the phone and come back out.
Now, is that what you did? Did you go in and grab the phone and come right back out, or did you stay in the house for a while?
Yes, no, I went right back out into the garage.
All right. And at the most, you think that would take a minute or two?
Yes.
All right, so if you went in about 5:37, what time do you think you may have come back out?
Couple minutes. I came right back out, just enough time to grab the phone.
All right, so around 5:40. All right, so around 5:40, you come back outside, and when you come back outside, you see a couple of people you do not recognize.
Correct.
And they're over there around Brian's house, or they...
Well, they were walking a little bit before Brian's house, passing by it.
So you, people you didn't know.
I could not really, I don't know them. I couldn't see them. I just know they were walking.
And so they would have been walking in between Brian's house and that 2-story house over there on the other side.
They were before that.
Before that, which way?
Before Brian's house. Before you come to the stop sign.
Here somewhere? Or back down here?
Before you approach Brian's house on the left, they were before Brian's house, walking by his house.
Right in here? This is Brian's house right here?
Go to the left.
This way?
Yes.
Okay, so they were back down
You
here.
look about that way, correct?
All right, so they were down here somewhere walking.
And that's where, you know,
All right, and it's, bottom line is, it's nobody that had anything to do with this case. That you think?
not that I know of. It didn't look like it to me.
All right, so you see them walk by, and shortly thereafter, you see Mr. Leverett. Is that correct?
Correct.
And when you see Mr. Leverett, you said that he got out of his truck.
Correct.
By the time he did that, were the 2 young men across the street at the house, were they standing outside?
They were gone. They proceeded to walk towards the other side of Aspen Street where Barbara Meadow was. But my sister. Somewhere back in that direction.
The 2 young men that were standing outside of the...
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I thought you meant the 2 men walking. The 2 men were in their driveway,
All right, so
standing.
across the street at the 2-story house, there were 2 young men standing out in the driveway when Mr. Leverett pulled up in his truck.
They came outside after they heard the yelling.
Okay, so they were outside of the 2-story house.
When they heard the yelling, I saw them come out.
Cameraman, approach the wood. I'm going to show you what has been trees marked as defendants exhibit Q. Do you recognize the houses and the place that's depicted by this picture?
That's a 2-story house. That's my mother's house, and that's Ryan's house.
All right, very.
And they're Barbara's house.
And this is defendant's exhibit R for identification. Do you recognize that?
Yes,
And what is that?
a 2-story house, where I saw the 2 men in the driveway.
All right, we're gonna get to that in a And defendant's exhibit D for identification. Do you recognize that?
Yeah, it's a two-story house
All right.
in my mother's yard.
All right, very good. Do these pictures accurately reflect the houses and their locations in
Yes.
Washington Street?
Yes.
Run over that to DP, enter it as defendant's exhibits, whatever they are.
I
Counsel,
see no objection on behalf of the break.
Right.
Sorry, said it also.
any objection, Mr. Wilk?
No, ma'am.
All right. Defendant's exhibit Q will be marked as defendant's exhibit 17. Defendant's exhibit R for identification will be number 18, and B for identification will be 19.
While she's marking those, before we publish them to the jury, you go in your house, you get your cell phone, sorry, not cell phone, but
A landline.
landline, okay. And come back out to the garage, so you come back out to the garage with your phone?
Yes.
And it's at that point in time that you see the two young men that have come out from the two-story house?
Correct.
All right. And the pictures that I just showed you, they were from the front of that, the driveway of that two-story home, is that right?
Correct.
One of them was a side view.
Correct.
When you first saw them come out, when you came back out to your garage, where did you first see them on the property over the two-story house?
In the driveway,
All right.
standing.
And we'll see the pictures in just a minute. Well, let's go back over here to the map. And this is the driveway at the front of the two-story house, right, which literally is almost directly in front of Mr. Leverrett's house, and the two young men were standing in the driveway.
Correct.
And this would have been